I didn't even count us down. Welcome everybody to the stream. Welcome to Respawn Please, the video game podcast where two dumb villains come together to talk all things video games. I normally count us down, but I didn't do it this time. I just said, "Hey, Ell, are you ready to go?" He said yes, and I said, "Okay, let's go."
Punch in.
Count us down. Yeah. So with me, as always, for the Respawn Please podcast is Ell. Ell, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. You know, hey, I'm happy. It's the weekend. Having a blast and enjoying myself.
Awesome. We didn't stream yesterday because Ell was a poop face. And I don't know if this is true. I'm just making things up. To be fair, when you part of the reason why it's like you had texted me yesterday saying, "Hey, can we push the time back?" I said, "That's fine." I took a nap. And then I woke up and I was like, I don't really want to do the stream tonight because I woke up like super groggy and I was like, "Ell, can we just do this tomorrow?" Because I don't really do it.
That's so funny.
I didn't say that in text, but I just woke up from a nap. So
that makes sense.
I was in a groggy mess, and so I just wanted to wake up, and then I played Diablo after I woke up.
Makes sense.
Which is one of the things we're going to talk about today. But before we get into all the stuff that we have, because we have a bunch of reviews to look at, from Street Fighter to Diablo to a little game that I forgot was coming out, System Shock. Anyways, also recently came out. We also have information about the next meta quest and some interesting stats from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. But before we get into all that, what you been playing this week, Ell?
So this week it's been a little bit of everything. I've actually had a lot of time to play games, and I've been, kind of just like playing a bunch. So to start off, of course, playing occasionally, not as much anymore. Overwatch 2, just because I've been so busy in other games.
Oh, you suck.
So Overwatch 2, playing the original Resident Evil 4, not the remake, because it was like $5 on Switch, and I've been enjoying it. I'm not like just super like amazed by it, but I could kind of see why people really love that one out of all the Resident Evils. But anyway, playing Slay the Spire, playing Fall Guys, and a little bit of Grand Theft Auto Vice City Remastered. And then last but not least, yesterday, me and my partner started playing It Takes Two, and we've been having a blast with that. We were laughing, because of course I'm the gamer, and she used to game back in the day, not as much anymore because she kind of got away from it. But yesterday, it's so funny. There'd be have you played It Takes Two?
I've not. No, I've watched people play it, but it's a co-op game, right? You can't really play it by yourself. So
so it's a co-op game, and
play with.
It's so funny because we were playing it, and there are parts where you kind of have to climb and swing and grind on certain things, and I'm just tapping okay, cool, here goes this is, and she's just panicking, struggling and panicking, and I'm just kind of sitting waiting for her, and then I'm looking at her screen, I'm like, okay, this is what you got to do this, do that, and so we've been having a blast. We played it for 2-3 hours straight yesterday. We were playing so much, and so we'll probably. I think we're almost halfway through. So I know she said she wants to play more because she loved it. So
awesome. That's awesome. Glad you were able to do that.
I know. Me too.
Do you have any other games like that y'all play together, or is this the first big one?
No, we played the Overcooked series. We played that. We love that series because she the way that she says it is I'm good at giving instructions. And so we'll be in the kitchen when we play it, and I'll be like, okay, this is what I need. I need a shrimp. I need rice. I need this. And where I'm just basically like a line cook giving her the order, all right, chop this, do that, clean the plate, such. And I'm also simultaneously helping. And she's just and it's a lot of fun because because she doesn't do well with a lot of so many things going on, but because I can kind of guide her verbally and just show her and be like, this is how you do this, she has a blast with it. So,
and she didn't want to murder you by the end of it?
No,
I know that game makes people want to murder each other.
No, we had a blast because we got pretty far. We haven't beaten it, but there's certain levels that man, you just have to be on time with everything and not make any mistakes, and so it gets more and more difficult. I think we hit a wall and we were we'll put it down and we'll come back to it one day. So
well, hopefully I'll come back to it. Are you gonna? So this was just Overcooked 1, not 2?
We played both. Overcooked 1. We didn't finish either of them.
Okay, you just jumped around. Did you do the DLC too? Because there's DLC. I think for both of them actually. They both have DLC. I think. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I don't think we've done the DLC. I know. I just have like the original games, not the DLC for them or anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, I've been playing Stellaris. I told you about this on Wednesday during our gameplay stream stuff. Just got re-addicted to it. It's a game that I can kind of just put on, walk away from, and let it do its own thing, and then I'll come back and check every now and then, see what's going on, making sure my empire is not falling apart. The only time I really like sit down, buckle down, and just stare at it is if like a war breaks out, and then I just sit there and monitor the war and make sure that things aren't going into too much chaos. So. And then, it's usually the beginning of the game I'm really focused in because it's the exploration part, which I love. And then once empires start like running into each other, it kind of like stalls out and you just sit there and watch and try to develop your technology faster than the other empires. Occasionally wars break out. And then, it's a lot of fun. I'm addicted to this game. It's a simulation game. Please leave me alone. It's more than a simulation. It's a grand strategy game on a galactic scale. It's a whole galaxy. And my empire right now, thriving. We are thriving beyond belief. I have the strongest military right now. And
wow.
I'm going to wipe out the galaxy, I think. I already wiped out one empire. Probably going to do another one.
Oh, boy.
Listen, you're getting in my way. Okay.
I need
some resources. I'm running out of resources. I need more resources. Just like in real life, that's why countries go to war. That's why my empire is going to war. I need resources. And no one is being kind enough to just give them to me. So I have to take it by force, damn it.
That's so funny. That's hilarious.
And am I committing genocide in the process? Maybe. But you know what? I don't like disgusting aliens in my empire.
Oh my God. That's jeez.
And then I told you this. I have 2 playthroughs. I have my crazy dictator playthrough, and then I have my pacifist playthrough. That's just like I'm what's called turtling, where I'm just building up my defenses and then just letting my people thrive. People want to come into my empire? Come on in. Come on. I'll take all the refugees. Get on we have plenty of room. So I'm doing 2 playthroughs. God. That's so funny. But I will say the pacifist one is the boring one because you kind of just sit there and wait for things to happen. Whereas my crazy dictator thing, I'm making wars happen. I'm purposely declaring war against people. But yeah.
Nice.
But I've been playing Stellaris and then a little game. A tiny game. A wee tiny game. Just
not too many people know about it.
Yeah, probably, it's a big indie game, or a small indie game, I should say. It's called Diablo IV. Released in early access on it's early release, I guess it's what it's. Yeah. I don't know. What are they calling it? Pre-release?
I think it's early release or early access to it.
Yeah. Just by a couple days. Came out, it started at 6 p.m. U.S. Central Time on Thursday, and basically that's all I've been doing. I was telling you before we started the stream that I've just been playing it. I've been streaming it a lot. I was showing you my characters right before this, and I'm just playing it. I love Diablo. I love Diablo so freaking much, and we're going to talk about it, but we're not going to talk about it right now. Instead, we're going to turn our gears towards another game that came out this week. Another game getting a little bit better reviews. Getting a little bit better reviews.
Just by a couple.
This is where we're going to start our review roundup. We're going to start with Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 is currently sitting at a 92 on OpenCritic. I'm sorry, my brain went broke there. Went dead. It just like broke. I was like, what am I looking at? OpenCritic. But Street Fighter 6, it has a 92 on OpenCritic. Does this score surprise you? Do the glowing reviews surprise you at all? Like, we'll get into 2 specific reviews, but like just off the bat, are you surprised by the response to Street Fighter 6?
I am a little bit surprised just because, like Street Fighter doesn't ever seem like a game that just kind of like wows over the recent years, or just the last iterations of it. But leading up to it, just everything that they were showing off kind of felt like it was going to be something special, kind of like a landmark of the series of like, oh, this is really going to get good, And so just with like the new characters, what they were teasing with the open world online and, just being able, the things that you could do and just introducing these new characters for like the game, I was like, oh, okay, maybe this might be something big. But overall, I am a little bit surprised as to like, because I know this is very much a beloved game in the what is it, that big tourney where like that tournament where a lot of Evo. Yeah. And so Evo, like I know people love it there, as well as like Tekken and a bunch of other fighting games and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I knew that regardless of how it came out, even if it wasn't just like amazing, people were still going to be like, okay, we love it, cool, next iteration, and just keep it moving. But this one seems to like struck a chord with everyone, just as like how cool it is and just the world and everything about it.
Yeah, I agree. Like it kind of, I was expecting good reviews. I was expecting like 8s, 8.5s. Like I wasn't expecting it to seeing it get 10 out of 10s and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, okay, there is something special here. Yeah. But yeah, that was like visually, I thought it looked incredible. Like, like all the trailers and everything. I was like, this looks freaking awesome. And like watching streamers play it these last few days, I'm just like, yeah, this looks awesome. I'm still not interested in playing it. Does that make sense?
No,
like,
yeah, definitely.
This looks awesome. I'm so glad people are having so much freaking fun with it. But like, it's a fighting game, and like I know I'm like, even people are just like, oh, the modern controls that they have now. And I think one of the reviews mentioned that we're going to talk about here in a second mentions it, but the modern controls make it easy for new players of fighting games to come in. I'm like, I'm still not interested. I don't care. Like it's like, you can modernize it and make it easy all you want. It's still not going to be anyways. But I'm so glad this is getting like hype reviews though, because it looks visually incredible, and like by all accounts, by all the reviews, this seems like a great fun game. So let's dive into our first review, which is from IGN. IGN's Mitchell Saltzman gave it a 9 out of 10, saying Street Fighter games always benchmark moments for the 2D fighting game genre, but Street Fighter 6 feels extra special. The drive system is an incredible addition to the fighting mechanics that gives you a veritable Swiss Army knife of options and meter management decisions right from the start of every single round. The starting roster is the best Street Fighter has ever seen. Its online netcode through 3 betas has been impeccable so far, and the number of smaller details that it nails right out of the gate is unprecedented. It is so good that even the poor story and extremely slow progression of the single-player world tour amounts to only a jab's worth of damage on a metaphorical health bar. Whether you're completely new to fighting games or are a seasoned vet, Street Fighter 6 is a must-play. And then over on GameSpot, Jason Finelli gave it a 9 out of 10, saying Street Fighter 6 learns an immediate lesson from the content bare release of its predecessor, as it offers a variety of significant features and modes right out of the gate. It is a robust fighting game that is of a premier quality. Street Fighter 6 is incredible, a return to form for the franchise that welcomes both new fighters and seasoned pros. So one of the things I want to highlight, and one of the reasons why I'm also not interested really into getting into Street Fighter, is the fact that there's a poor story. And I think that goes like, I'm not surprised by hearing that. Like, I think that's also just a common thread through all of the reviews, is that the story isn't that great. The single player stuff is fun playing, but it's more like you're just running around fighting rather than doing anything of worth, you know? So it makes sense. Like the real highlight is the like online play, going online, playing with people, doing all of that stuff. And that makes sense, because that's kind of how a Street Fighter, that's how I always pictured Street Fighter to begin with. Like Street Fighter, Tekken were always the games that were like, oh, these are like serious, we're gonna fight competition things. Whereas like Mortal Kombat, as batshit crazy as it is, especially like in later versions of Mortal Kombat, it's always story focused more than it is. Same with what is the superhero one?
Marvel vs. Capcom?
No. The one with Batman, Superman.
Oh, Injustice.
That story that's heavily story, because that's a whole comic book arc, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, and granted, those were also created by NetherRealm, which was the creators of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So like that makes sense. That story was the focus for those. But like Street Fighter for me has always been like, oh yeah, this is a game that you just play online, and if you want to practice, you play offline against the AI and stuff. Does that so like, yeah, I'm not surprised by a poor story at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised either. It's super fun because it's definitely when you look at fighting games, it definitely feels like a game that a lot of people enjoy competing in, and kind of use it as like the bar to, like we said earlier, like Evo and stuff like that. Same thing with Tekken most of the time, even though I know like the single player for like Tekken does have a little story, but it's more so I never hear people talk about it. They more so just it's the competition of it, to be able to be like, I'm the best fighter, and so to speak. It's the same thing with like you were talking about with Injustice, where like I enjoy playing Injustice because the story is good and it's the comic book series, and so same thing with that. I still love Marvel vs. Capcom, but I'll never play it just because of like playing online is basically like essentially like Street Fighter. Just people are so good that I'm just like, I don't want to be demoralized online.
Yeah. I don't want to be beat down by people, by random people on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm like, with everything though, like we said earlier, I'm just incredibly happy that Street Fighter 6 seems to be doing so damn well. I'm looking forward to seeing the pros do the pro shit at Evo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when Evo rolls around and Street Fighter 6 is there and like the serious fighters are there, and I'm looking forward to watching those matches because like Street Fighter 6 has just such awesome like art style to it. Like again, just watching streamers play it the last few days, because I've been when I'm not streaming Diablo myself, I'm watching streamers play Street Fighter, and then I'm playing Diablo off stream. So that's been my last like 24 hours basically. It's either So it's like I'm enjoying watching people play because it is just a feast of the eyes, I guess is the best way to say it, because it does look really freaking cool.
Yeah.
So.
All the characters look so cool, man. They look just like all the details from the attire to just how they look. Like I think I was watching somebody play as one of the new characters, and then also like against Guile, and I'm like, Guile's hair looks so cool, and it's just like man, it makes me think of very like anime-ish, but like with real world spots or something like that, and everyone in the game looks so cool to me, and I'm just like, wow, they all have their own like identity.
So you know what else is also cool though?
What's that?
Really cool. It's a really cool game. It's not the one you're thinking of. I'm actually skipping over the one that's next, and we're going over to System Shock Remake. This is a classic game that came out. I want to say the original came out in 2000. I want to say. I might be wrong. Hold on, let me look this up. Original release. 1994. I was way off.
Wow.
I was way off. 2004, their studio, or 2000, their studio closed. Anyways, System Shock. Man, I'm so stupid. System Shock, originally released in 1994.
Okay.
I feel like that's fucking wrong though. Nope, it's right. It's right. I'm so lost and confused. Anyways, I have System Shock, so I should have known this. I'm actually a fan of System Shock, but I didn't play it until like I was like 13, 14 years old. But anyways, System Shock got a remake from the original release in 1994. Then they re-released it this past week on May 30th.
Nice.
And I honestly forgot this game was coming out. I remember it being talked about years and years ago of people coming in, they're going to remake it from the ground up. And then it turns out that based off reviews and responses to this, wasn't quite that sort of, it wasn't a Resident Evil 4 remake version where they remade everything from the ground up. It was more of a wonderful one-for-one upgrade of graphics and stuff, because 1994 to 2023, of course. 1994 looks like garbage, but at least by today's standards, it looked great. In 1994, but System Shock sits at a 76 76 on Open Critic. I was about to give it way too much high of a score there. So, man, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. Just punch me in the face.
Oh my God. So,
System Shock Remake has a 76 on Open Critic. Over at Eurogamer, Khan Saren gave it a 4 out of 5, saying Showdown is what makes parts of this game truly special, even with some warts. Thankfully, the original's impenetrable. I can't read. Excel sheet menus are gone. But Night Dive doesn't take the Capcom or Square Enix approach with this remake. They're actually pretty uncompromising in their mission to update the original. As a result, there aren't any wildly dynamic abilities or playful ways to move around the station, a la Prey, that some newbies might expect. But ultimately, the System Shock remake faithfully recreates a classic, retains most of its appeal, reframes everything with a horror tilt, and as a result, makes it more playable for everyone. And then over on Games Radar, Leon Hurley gave it a 3 out of 5, saying, "The whole thing ends up being a mixed bag. I enjoyed some elements of exploration and investigation, with the overall retro sci-fi feel of the space station having a great vibe. Although the almost child's toy chunkiness of enemies lands less well. But I feel conflicted by the fact that almost everything that lets it down stems from the original game, copied exactly and failing scrutiny under a modern lens. It leaves the feeling more like a remaster plus than a remake." So I don't know if you have any history of System Shock or anything. What do you think? Are you interested in checking this classic game, sort of getting a visual update with some modern slants to it, but for the most part, still 1-to-1?
No, I mean,
it looks game from 1994.
This is a game I'm pretty unfamiliar with, but just from looking at some of the trailers for that remake or remaster, it definitely does look cool, because I know I personally enjoyed the retro sci-fi, how what people thought the future was going to be in the 80s and stuff like that. And so I do like that look. It is interesting because it's a first-person shooter type of game. And so it looks pretty cool to me. I'd be willing to check it out. What if I told you this is one of the games that inspired BioShock? Really? Yep. This is one of the first games of its type where it was, you know how in BioShock you can pick up messages and listen to messages and stuff. This is one of the first first person shooter games that really did that, where you could environmental storytelling, basically, where you picked up things to read and gives you insight to the world and stuff like that. System Shock 2 especially. System Shock 2 is actually the one that I have on Steam. So that's probably why I got it confused with that, because I played System Shock 2. I've never played System Shock 1 actually. So okay. Wow. Yeah, System Shock 2 came out in 1999, which is the one I played. Oh, so, gotcha. That's cool though. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, so but BioShock is definitely one of those games that got influenced by System Shock. So I think it'd be worth checking out just to see where that whole idea of storytelling came from. Yeah, definitely. Nice. So I'm interested in trying it out. So just a quick thing here. BioShock is considered a spiritual successor to the System Shock series. Many of the team members who worked on BioShock had previously worked on System Shock. System Shock 1 inspired parts of BioShock's game design. So there you go. That's so cool. Yeah. Just a piece of interesting history of video game history, especially if you're a fan of BioShock to begin with, but never knew what System Shock was. I think this would be a cool thing to go back to, especially since this is more of a 1-to-1 recreation and can give you sort of an idea of the level design and game design that BioShock eventually also kind of morphed and turned it to its own. And that's the main reason why I put this in the doc, because I just think that's cool. Yeah, definitely. I'm probably gonna pick this up at some point. Probably not at the price that it is right now on Steam, which is $40. I know that's not a lot, but I kind of don't want to buy it for that. Yeah. Yeah. So, but when it goes on to a Steam sale, I'll probably pick up System Shock, because I am interested in seeing that, because I do love System Shock 2. I was a huge fan of System Shock 2. So yeah, System Shock 2, just, I was 9 years old when it came out, and I probably played it when I was 11, 12 years old. So, because I remember playing that in Deus Ex around the same time. Yes. And Deus Ex is one of my favorite games of all time. So, nice. So yeah, but I would definitely suggest, because I know you're a big fan of BioShock, or at least BioShock 1. Definitely check out System Shock if you ever want to go see sort of
where it all began. Not really, but
yeah, exactly where a lot of inspiration was drawn from.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know what game is incredible and deserves higher? It deserves a perfect 100. And that is Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has opened into early access this week, and I've been playing it. And I'll talk more about my experience with it. But before we get into it, let's talk about the reviews for Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is sitting at an 89 on OpenCritic right now. Over on IGN, Travis Northup gave it a 9 out of 10, saying Diablo 4 is a stunning sequel with near perfect in-game and progression design that makes it extremely excruciating to put down. I agree. The story, that was me inserting my own thoughts. The story is a pretty big disappointment despite still being a noticeable improvement over Diablo 3, and there are some annoying bugs that need squashing. But the combat, the loot game, and both the sights and sounds of this world are impressive enough to smooth over those rough edges. Diablo 4 takes the strategy of refining things the series already did so well rather than giving it a more substantial overhaul, and that careful and reverent path has shaped this massive sequel into one of the most polished ARPGs ever created, which makes slicing through the legions of the damned a hell of a good time. And then on a not so positive note, and I wanted to pull this because I do think this is something folks need to keep in mind because this highlights what Diablo 4 is at its core.
Okay.
And this is coming from PC Gamer, and this is it went unscored right now. It's like a review in progress, but based on what the review is saying, I kind of expected to get a low score. Anyways, Tyler Culp over on PC Gamer says, so far, nothing has convinced me the endgame is so brilliant that it's worth stripping everything out of the initial leveling process. The thin storytelling doesn't help either. Thankfully, you can skip it on subsequent characters. Diablo 4 is a live service game that puts an insulting amount of effort into trying to convince you it's not. It's backwards, trying to build up the most robust part of itself instead of starting with it. The moment entering a fresh dungeon feels more like a chore than a ride is the moment Diablo loses me. And I've been worryingly close to that feeling in my time with it so far. So I included this more negative review of Diablo or this little portion here to highlight that this is a live service game. Meaning you're going to buy a game pass. There's a lot of stuff you're going to be doing. The idea is that like they're going to have seasons and you restart every season and go through the battle pass every season and stuff. You're not just going to stick with your one character forever or anything like that. So that's a big thing that you need to know going into Diablo, because if you're expecting just I'm just going to go enjoy a story and some gameplay, you can do that, but that's not really where the game shines. The game shines in its end game and the many possibilities and the desire to want to keep playing through multiple times with multiple characters and all that. So, Ell, where's your interest level at with Diablo?
I mean, it does seem cool. Because I told you before that with our friends Little Dove and Blitz, they talked about that they are possibly going to start playing this as well. Because I know, of course, you are, and I know you love Diablo so much. Yeah. I think this is a lot more exciting with the potential to play with everyone. This is one of those games, kind of like the way that Dead by Daylight works, where Dead by Daylight by myself doesn't sound as fun as it does with friends. When you have like, it's 4 of you guys against one killer. That is so much fun to be able to communicate with each other and just have that interaction. And so it does make it enticing to be like, well, if I buy it, I'm going to have fun with my friends, so to speak, because everyone's playing it together and we're having fun with it. The only thing that prevents me from like just being like, okay, buy it, is the price tag, and then also the idea of seasons, because like I already have that. Of course, this is nothing new with Blizzard. With Overwatch, they do seasons where you basically every single season you climb through a battle pass and you do that, and it's like a part of me is like, well, am I okay with doing it twice, and having to like go up the ranks over and over, and it's just, am I okay with knowing that there's no end for this, because I mean this is what Blizzard is kind of moving towards, or they already are. And so I'm like, but it does interest me to know that I'm like, well, if I do play it, then I'll know that you, our friends, will also be playing, and I'll be like, well, at least I have people there that I can play with, you know?
Yeah. For me, like, I'm all in on Diablo. I was saying this before the game came out, and I can definitively say this now. Unless a surprise indie comes out that blows me out of the water, or Starfield blows me out of the water, Diablo 4 is going to be my game of the year. Like, I'm having such a good fucking time with it. It's just, I don't know what it is about Diablo, because like I feel the same way about Diablo 3, Diablo 2 for the most part, and Diablo 1 for the most part. They all like feed this itch for me where it's just like, I love the loot grind in Diablo, which is weird to say because I don't enjoy it in games like Borderlands or in like what's another game that has a lot of it's a game that you said you're never gonna play because it does that, Destiny. It has that like loop where you're trying to get better gear constantly and just seeing those numbers go up. I normally don't enjoy that either.
Yeah.
For some reason, I love it in Diablo. Like, it feels so freaking good when you have a build that's just demolishing everything. Like, it just feels so good. Like the hacking and the slashing and the combat just feels so damn good in all of the Diablos. And this is no exception. Like, this feels incredible to play with a mouse and keyboard. I hear the controller feels great to play.
Nice.
Like, this is everything I want out of Diablo game. They kind of rolled back. So in Diablo 3, they had a fairly simple leveling system compared to Diablo 2. And so Diablo 4 kind of expanded on that to make it more of an in-between 2 and 3, to give you more options to play with your build, to play with how you want to morph your character in a direction. Like right now, as a necromancer, my main that I've been playing is a necromancer, and I'm doing a pet build. I'm doing a minion build where I'm pretty much putting all my stats and trying to find all the gear that will make my minions stronger. Because I can just sit back and watch and let them do all the work. But I'm on the side of that, you can do a blood build where you can basically suck the blood from other people and enhance your own health and stuff like that. Or you can do a bone build where you could use the corpses and stuff around you to, do damage. You can explode corpses and stuff like that. There's so many like different ways you can play with your character within your builds, and then then like each class is very different from each other to begin with. Like, even though necromancer and sorcerer you would think are fairly similar because they're both like magic based, sorcerer is very different because it's more about elemental magic, like frost and fire and lightning. And then the druid can transform into a werewolf or a bear, or can use elemental magic like electricity and frost. And so there's like so many like different ways within each of these classes that you can do to like just take your character in different directions. And that's one of the most exciting and fascinating things for me, because like I feel this is gonna be a game that I'm gonna play for a long, long time. Like, I already know it. Like, up until Diablo 4 came out, pretty much like as recent as last, I want to say like back in November, I played Diablo 3. Granted, I was playing Diablo 3 to get all of the trophies on the PlayStation. And I got all the trophies, and so I was like, I'm probably not going to play Diablo anymore until Diablo 4, because I got all the trophies in Diablo 3 now, finally, because it was my first time playing on PlayStation Diablo, because I normally always played it on PC. This game is going to be a game that I'm going to play for a while, especially if the seasons are attractive enough, if there's like enough interesting things that they're doing each season. I'm hoping, I fully expect this based on the past, that they're going to have DLC / expansion packs, because Diablo 3 had expansion packs, Diablo 2 had expansion packs. So I fully expect to see like story expansions and stuff like that. Hopefully. Maybe it comes in the form of updates and like little small story packs or something like that. But I hope to see them continue to expand, because even though like the story is honestly not that great, Diablo always had awesome lore. I love the lore of Diablo. I don't really know how to explain it beyond that, but like the lore of Diablo is just really freaking cool. It's just like the war between heaven and hell, between the primevals and the angels and stuff. Like, there's just so much that I just love about Diablo. So it's
Gotcha.
like Diablo 4 is the most Diablo-ass Diablo to ever Diablo. If that makes any sense. Probably
Yeah,
does.
that makes sense. No, it makes sense.
So like I like Diablo 4 is ticking off every single thing that I love about Diablo. I don't necessarily agree with what Tyler Kolb is saying in PC Gamer, but I also understand it. Like, this is definitely a game that if the story isn't speaking to you, if the combat isn't speaking to you, if the end game isn't speaking to you, if you're not interested in this idea of a live service game where you're going to play different seasons, because like each season supposedly is going to be 3 months. So when the official release comes is the start of the actual season. And then 3 months later, it'll be a new season and all that. If like that doesn't appeal to you, then you probably won't get a lot out of Diablo. But for me, I this is going to be a game that I'm going to play for the rest of the year and probably beyond. So
nice.
Sorry, I just rambled a lot about my love of Diablo.
You're good. No, I mean, that's good. It's good that you can have a game like that appeals to you. To a certain extent, that's kind of like how Overwatch is to me, that I just enjoy the gameplay loop of it. And, I just have fun with it regardless of all the issues that they have. And so just the competitive progress, I like the same way that you like seeing that grind. I enjoy that in Overwatch, just seeing my stats go up and me like, oh, I am getting better, type of thing. And so I definitely understand.
Yeah. And like for me, Diablo 4 is a more open world game than it has been in the past. I showed you the map. The map is freaking huge.
Oh yeah, it's
even
humongous.
Like the small, even in the areas that I've been to, I've what like, but it looked probably like 1/4 of the map, 1/5 of the map, or something.
Something like that.
It's like a small portion of the map, and so I still have plenty to explore, plenty to experience. I still haven't beat the story yet. I'm level 40 on my necromancer, level 41, and I'm just going through the dungeons, completing the dungeons. I'm getting side quests. I'm like, oh, this seems interesting. I'll do the side quest because why not? I'm hunting down these statues of Lilith, the altars of Lilith, which give you permanent increases to your stats. So I've been hunting those down and stuff. So like, there's like just so much to do that I'm just scratched the surface in these last 2 days. And even though I'm level 40 right now, which the level cap is 100, so I still have plenty to go. But like, I still feel like I'm only scratching the surface, because like once I complete the story, once I get to level 100, it does go into the end game, and it does go into, okay, what exactly am I supposed to be doing now? Where is this going to go for me? So I'm looking forward to getting to that. Now it is a always online game too, which is something new for Diablo. So you have to always have an internet connection. There's no offline mode for you. But interestingly enough, they have couch co-op. You can do couch co-op with this, which I think is fascinating, which is, I think, kind of cool. You can't do, let me double check to make sure I'm right. I think it's only for consoles. We'll have Coach Club mode with players. Yeah, it's only for the consoles, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, but not for PC. But
gotcha.
it has, so like 2 of you can be on the screen together and play. Yeah, so I think that's cool. It's not on the PC, but if you're playing on a console, that's an awesome way to play the game with a friend. So the way I've been playing it, mostly single player. I mean, like, I go out into the world and like I run into other players that are doing stuff. It's like very MMO in that way. Like when you're in like town, you'll see a bunch of people in town. Like when you're in the main city hub, there's always people running around and stuff. And then when you go outside the hub, you start seeing less and less people. Occasionally you'll come across somebody. Occasionally you'll help with like a world event where it's just like, kill this, stand here and kill these people or whatever. And then like a group of you, you're not even grouped up with them, but a group of you will come together to fight off this horde of monsters and stuff, horde of demons, and then go your separate ways, which I think is cool. Dungeons are instants, meaning it's only going to be you and your party. So like if you and I played together, we would go into the dungeon together, but we would be the only 2 in there. There wouldn't be any other players coming into the dungeon. So it still would be a solitary experience if you're playing by yourself, which is how I'm playing it mostly. So, yeah. Which again is very different from Diablo, because Diablo 3, Diablo 2, Diablo 1, all you can play it single player offline, never have to interact with another human being ever if you don't want to. So there's also PvP in Diablo 4 and set zones. Okay. I can't remember the names of the zone. Because Fields of Hatred is what it's called. their PvP area, and you can just go there and fight other people and stuff like that. Just interesting stuff. Again, they have so much you can do, and the Fields of Hatred are areas that you may not even ever go into. You may never once look at it. So, yeah.
Nice.
That is it for the Diablo 4 review stuff. Do you have any questions, or are you good, Al? Have I scared you away permanently?
No. I mean, I definitely understand. Like I said, I think for me, it depends if I'm able to, maybe I'll get interested in it one day enough to start playing it. It's just, I know for me, sometimes I'm like, could I handle balancing between, which I feel like I could, because literally today, I told you at the beginning of the podcast, I've been playing like 6 different games. Yeah. And so, it just depends if I'm going to want to invest into that whole battle pass system, and wanting to continue to do it, or am I okay with, paying the money for the game, and then just, if there's a season or a couple days where I'm like, I don't want to play this, Yeah. But it is interesting. And like you were saying earlier, the lore does seem very cool, with it. 'Cause there's a couple of things like that in entertainment that I'm just like, regardless of how, the finished product is, the lore behind it is so cool and interesting. And so, that's one thing that I do enjoy.
Yeah, and then and I also want to just point this out, in of course Blizzard fashion, cinematics are incredible. Like the story cinematics, like the trailer, you'll get moments where the cinematics can the first cinematic that you get, which is Lilith being reborn, just incredible. The church scene, incredible. There's just so many incredible just cinematics peppered throughout the game. They're just just make this movie. Come on. That's how I felt with everything, with Overwatch, when they were getting geared to release Overwatch, and then within the first year after releasing Overwatch, just make a fucking show already. Damn. It's
exactly.
So it looks so damn good. But yeah. Nice. Moving on to one final review. One final review. What could be review? What more could be coming out this week? Well, we're going into something that's not video game related. I just want to talk about it because I'm incredibly excited about it. Across the Spider-Verse currently has a 95 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Elle, are you excited about Across the Spider-Verse?
Definitely. I was actually talking to my partner about this, about going to see Across the Spider-Verse, and I'm excited for it because I like the idea. Of course, with everything Marvel and everything like that, they love messing with the alternate dimensions and just the different realities. And so it's cool because Spider-Man is definitely one that I'm very familiar with growing up. And I always thought all the different Spider-Men were really cool. Just like in the movie, you have Miguel O'Hara, I want to say his last name is.
Yeah.
Who's Spider-Man 2099. Such a cool looking Spider-Man. And then because they've done something similar to this in video game fashion with what's that Spider-Man game where it was the 3 different time periods of Spider-Man?
The Spider-Man.
I forgot what it's called, but you had Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man 2099, and then the Scarlet Spider, I think, Ben Reilly, I want to say.
Yeah. Shattered Dimensions is the game you're thinking of.
Shattered Dimensions, yeah.
Shattered Dimensions.
And so I love that concept, and this is taking that, but to the extreme with all the different realities. It's so cool. You have T-Rex Spider-Man, you have Spider-Cat, you have all these different things, and I'm interested to go see this movie because it looks like it's a blast.
Oh yeah, I am too. I'm not going to see it in theaters because I don't go to theaters. But I loved Into the Spider-Verse, the first movie. So yeah, I'm incredibly excited. I confess I've already spoiled it for me. I listened to a spoil cast on everything that happens, but I do that with everything to begin with.
Of course, yeah.
Because I don't care. It's my thing. Spoilers don't do anything because it's not going to ruin the quality of a video game or a movie for me. Maybe a book, but if I'm really interested in reading a book, I probably will avoid spoilers for that. But if it's for a movie or a video game, it's not going to ruin the experience for me because I think there's so many other elements to it that make it special.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And like the animation for Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse just looks so damn amazing. Like just like looks so good. Now I will say this. I've been seeing a lot of like Twitter talk and like just like this something that's also mentioned in reviews as well is apparently the audio mixing is god awful.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm interested in hearing what you think when you go see it.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently it's awful, like in theaters and stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been reading and seeing and hearing people say is like the audio mixing for some reason is just bad and Across the Spider-Verse. Everything else is great. Story, the animation, everything looks great. But the audio mixing is something. It's not like, and it's not a like a single theater thing either. It's like apparently having multiple.
Wow.
You know. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go see it in like IMAX? Or are you Dolby? Or are you just gonna see it in a regular theater?
Probably just regular. I mean, maybe Dolby, but or IMAX would be really cool. But I think maybe if we don't see it in that, we'll probably just see it standard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. IMAX is way more expensive too, isn't it? Like tickets for it.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
way more.
I haven't been to a movie theater in years at this point. So I don't know how that stuff works. But yeah, so the last review, not video game related, but maybe video game related. Maybe
we get a Spider-Man.
Maybe there's a Spider-Man from a little Spider-Man game called Spider-Man 2.
Wow.
That was a really weird way to phrase this. That's a real weird way to phrase that. But maybe we get the Peter Parker from the Marvel video games. You know, who knows? I don't know.
Interesting.
I actually don't know. So this is not me spoiling anything. I actually don't know. I don't think that came up in anything I read. Maybe it did though, and I just, forgot. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to some more fun topics. I'm going to skip this topic because I want to end on a happy note.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. This one, we're gonna go to the MetaQuest 3 was announced. Like I don't know why I've like this is a Debbie Downer or anything. The MetaQuest 3 was announced. It's releasing this year. It's going to be $500. Well, it's $499.99, and there's going to be more info on September 27th in the Meta Connect. Are you interested at all, Ell, in MetaQuest 3 from Meta?
Well, I guess I'd be curious to know like what are the upgrades that they're getting? Is there anything new? Are the specs better than the previous two? I'm assuming. And then also, this makes me think of how much was the PlayStation VR?
The PlayStation VR is $550.
Wow. Okay.
So $549.99. So
like $50, a little bit more expensive, and this is just a little bit cheaper. It's interesting. It's not something that I'm looking into, just because VR hasn't really pulled me in yet with any of the games or anything like that. I mean, it's like a cool, I don't want to say like gimmick, but it's like a cool piece of technology that you can kind of do really cool things in. But for me, it hasn't warranted its price yet. Like, at least that's how I feel.
Yeah. So to give you an idea of what is coming, I'm going to just they have a nice little summary at the top of the article that I shared in the article in the doc. But MetaQuest 3 features higher resolution, stronger performance, breakthrough meta reality technology, whatever the hell that means, and a slimmer, more comfortable headset. So kind of expanding on this, on Quest 3, our best in class meta reality technology lets you seamlessly blend your physical world with the virtual one. These new experiences go beyond today's mixed reality by intelligently understanding and responding to objects in your physical space and allowing you to navigate that space in natural, intuitive ways that were nearly impossible before. High fidelity color pass-through, innovate machine learning, and spatial understanding let you interact with virtual content and the physical world simultaneously, creating a limitless possibilities to explore. And then redesigned for comfort plus control with a 40% slimmer optic profile compared to Quest 2. Quest 3 is a sleeker, more comfortable headset. We also completely redesigned Quest 3's Touch Plus controllers with a more streamlined and I can't pronounce this word.
Ergonomic, thank you.
Form factor. Words are hard. So so there's some little insight. It's all like speak. It's all like PR speak rather than like specific like data. Like I think that's more what you're interested in, not the PR speak. But it's buzzwords.
Very true. I still think I'm not as interested just because, like I said, I think we still have a little bit of ways to go for it to. I still enjoy and get enough enjoyment out of being able to play a game on a monitor versus putting on these goggles and then also trying to deal with me. I know for me, the issue with glasses and stuff like that. And then how long can you play with those on, and so to speak. And so, or maybe I'm just old and these new kids are like, we love it. But,
I mean, I'm all for VR. I'm a big supporter of VR. I love my PlayStation VR. Yeah. I haven't got a PlayStation VR 2 yet. Maybe I will, but maybe I'll get the MetaQuest 3 instead, because like the thing that appeals to me more about MetaQuest to begin with, like MetaQuest 2, MetaQuest 3, is that it's wireless. So you don't have to be wired like the PSVR 2, PSVR 1. You have to be connected to the system. And so like the freedom appeals to me more than just what PSVR 2 has to offer. Now, like, I'm interested in seeing like what sort of lineup MetaQuest 3 like would have, like video game wise. Like Meta, the company Meta treats MetaQuest like it's more than just video games though. So I'm interested in seeing like what they're going to really do with that, how they're going to push that. So I'm just interested in seeing like how they're going to push MetaQuest 3 when it releases. Just another interesting thing starting on June 4th, they're lowering the price of Quest 2 to $299.99 US for the 128 GPU gigabyte SQ. God dang it, words are hard. You know what I'm trying to say? I hope everybody understands. And they say to help even more people access the magic of VR. So if you want to invest in a MetaQuest 2 and if you don't necessarily have the money to invest in the MetaQuest 3, but maybe you have $300 to spare for the MetaQuest 2, so it may be a good option to go into the VR space. So
maybe.
But yeah, I'm interested in seeing more of the VR space, what they're going to do with it, how it's going to change and adapt. Because I do think like right now, the VR space doesn't really have, aside from maybe Half-Life Alyx, there hasn't been a big like must play video game in the VR space where it's like, you need to experience this, you need to play this.
Exactly.
I think Half-Life Alyx is the only one. So
definitely.
And that one's not even connected to the Meta. That one is the Vive, right? Or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
the Vive, yeah.
So I don't know if you can play it on the Meta Quest 2 or whatever. Maybe you can, but like, yeah. But there has like, I'm just waiting to see what is that must experience thing connected with VR, whether in any of the VR space, whether it's the Vive, whether it's the MetaQuest, whether it's PSVR 2. I just haven't seen that. And as somebody who's played the PSVR and loved it, if you don't have the money to spare, it's not worth getting, in my opinion. It's not worth bending over backwards to try to get it. So with that said, let's go on to happier news. Again, I don't know why why I'm trying to frame that as if it's depressing, but happier news. Stats for Star Wars Jedi Survivor got released by EA Star Wars. It's a whole long Twitter thread, and I love it. I love when game companies do this sort of thing. They just it's just fun. It's just like a way to like, hey, look at how people are playing the game. So I want to dive into a couple of these.
Okay.
So the first one is gameplay stats. The most popular stance in Jedi Survivor is the single stance, with 31% of players using that in some way.
Interesting.
Coming up second is the dual wield, which is at 29%, which is you have two sabers in your hand. And then double bladed, which is the Darth Maul saber at 25%. A blaster lightsaber combo. So one hand you have a blaster and the other hand you have a lightsaber. It's weird. I actually don't like it at all. At 8%. And then you have a cross guard, which is like a claymore, basically like a sword.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
At 7%. So I think this is interesting to me because I'm a dual wielder and a cross guard. I usually run a dual wield and cross guard thing because you can only, so the way Jedi Survivor works is that you can only pick two stances that you can switch between. And then like when you go to meditate, you can like swap things out and stuff. So if like if you're not enjoying like using the cross guard, you can switch over to like double blade or something like that. And each stance has their own like purposes. like situations in combat, to reasons why you would use one form over another. But like I dual wield and I crossguard. Crossguard has a awesome animation of drop kicking that I think is just hilarious. You literally, it's your heavy attack. You like hold down, I want to say Y or maybe it's X, on the or square on the PlayStation controller. But either way, he'll start running and then he drop kicks. It's great. And I've had characters just like flop dead with like the drop kick. It's fantastic. I love it. The most popular hair and beard styles in the game is the crew cut and short beard. This is heartbreaking for me.
Really?
This is heartbreaking for me. And I wish I could, like, if I had planned this better, I would have hooked my PlayStation up and I would have shown you what my Cal Kestis looks like. Okay. He has a mullet. And he has a handlebar mustache.
That's hilarious.
My hair and beard combo. But apparently people like the crew cut and short beard. Fine, whatever. Don't be fun. Don't go for the mullet. That's fine.
Oh my gosh.
The next stats over is the most popular lightsaber color is white. You can just get a white lightsaber. That's also the color I use. So, Alistair, stop it. I'm trying to talk about Star Wars. Stupid dog. He doesn't understand. But yeah, the lightsaber colors, there's a variety of different colors. You have white, purple, black, red, blue, green, pink. I think the pink is called magenta. But yeah, I believe there's like 8 or 9 different colors you can use. But yeah, I use white. White's just looks the coolest.
Interesting.
I do switch white and pink and white between white and magenta every now and then though. Like sometimes I just want to add a little bit more color, you know? I think that's fun. Then a percent of breakdowns for players' game difficulty. And I think this is the most interesting one. So story mode is the easy peasy mode, gets you through the game quickly. 14.5% of players used story mode. And then Jedi Padawan, which is the in-between, which is 15% of players. And then Jedi Knight is the default mode. It's the normal. And 52.5% of players did that. Jedi Master, which would be hard, is 14%. And then Grand Jedi Master, which is like super hard, 4%. So I think this is just interesting that like the majority of players just went with the default one. They didn't change anything. They went with the default one or easier. So
exactly.
And that's just fascinating. A small percentage of people wanted that super hard challenge. And and for the most part, like it's not as sophisticated as like a Souls-like game, but Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, they're like Souls-like light. Basically, it's like they're not quite as complex or as difficult as like a Souls, like as an Elden Ring or something like that. So that's worth keeping in mind too. I think Jedi Knight is like the perfect spot for a lot of people. I know I for the most part played Jedi Knight. I played it on Jedi Knight until I got to a boss, and I was like, you know what? I'm struggling against this boss. I'm gonna go to story mode so I can just get past this. I can't remember. I can't remember who it was against, but I can't remember. I think it was like a bounty hunter actually. Because Cal Kestis gets these things where you can bounty hunts, and anyways, I was struggling against something, and so I lowered it to story mode because I wanted to I was like, I'm struggling with this. I just want to enjoy the story. Screw this. And then the most interesting thing here. Rick the Door Technician. He is one of the bosses in the game. Yes, his name is Rick the Door Technician. He's a boss in the game. He has killed 489 people. 489 players. He is the easiest boss in the game. You can kill him with one hit.
Really?
Even on Jedi Knight. I don't know about Grandmaster. Maybe the 4% of players is this 489 people. I don't know. So
funny.
But I don't think that's right. But maybe. But yeah, he's like, you can kill him with one hit basically. And just an interesting stat. Rick the Door I liked how they highlighted Rick the Door Technician because again, he's like, I remember getting to him and I was just like, why is this character considered a boss? What?
And just slice him 1-2.
Because like anybody with like a name is like a boss or a mini boss, and so it's just like so weird. It's
so funny.
And so what is anything else? Nope. Nope. Okay, this is the most important stat. This is on the last slide of their stats. Percent of players who love Turgle, 100%. Woo, Turgle love! We all love Turgle! Do you remember me showing you Turgle?
I remember you showing me. Yeah, the frog guy.
Everybody loves Turgle. Of course they do. Turgle's the best. So
that's so
anyways,
funny.
I just wanted to run through these stats because I just think it's fun. Like seeing stats like this. I kind of wish, like, especially like for single player games like this, I kind of want to see more companies do this where it's just like, this is how people are playing the game. This is like some just random stats. And of course, show us the love of Turgle because everybody loves Turgle. So
that's so funny.
Did you ever have interest in playing Jedi Survivor at all? Or?
Oh yeah, definitely, because I like Star Wars a lot. Star Wars is super cool. I never played Fallen Order, and so
you definitely want to play it first. So
exactly, play that before I get to this one. So, but it is super cool to me. This is like one of those properties that to me definitely has an amazing lore, or I just think it's super cool. Just the idea of you've told me a bunch of lore about the books and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. It's so deep, and so.
Oh yeah, there's so much to it. Like, especially if you like go into the old expanded universe stuff. It's called Legends now. I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was a lad. I was like 5-6 years old when I first watched Star Wars, and I've loved Star Wars ever since. So, these gameplay stats, they're cool. Are there any games that you can think of that you would love to see stats like this for, like a single player game that you played?
I think would be cool, which they might have done. The ones that come right off the bat for me are like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like seeing the stats of like how many people caught all the legendary animals, or how many people. One thing that was cool that I used to see on TikTok a lot would be people doing the side missions.
Yeah.
And the cool stories behind the side missions, because there was so much detail in them. Like there's a side mission potentially of a time traveler. There's a side mission of an alien, possibly like a UFO.
I that's one of the few things I did that I got in.
It's like so cool. Redemption. And so it'd be cool to see stats like that, or like even something as simple as like throughout the whole game, how many shots were fired and versus like how accurate they were. Stuff like that. I'm trying to think if I can think of any other games where I think it'd be cool. Nothing's coming to mind right now, but that one popped in my head.
Okay, yeah. I would go for pretty much anything. Like my immediate thought was like, I would love to see like a stat breakdown. And I doubt we could ever see it but like a stat breakdown of like Slay the Spire. Just seeing like what kind of builds people have and stuff like that. Not just going off of like what people say in the forums or anything, but like just like the back end data that like the devs would get and stuff.
Man.
That sort of thing. Like I could, because I would be fascinated by something, but that's also because I'm a nerd and I love Slay the Spire. Something like that would be cool to see.
Yeah, I know, because I'm subscribed to the subreddit for Slay the Spire, and it's interesting seeing people of like just the advice, or like how they get to certain places, like with the dick builds and stuff that they do, and I'm just like, whoa, it's so interesting to me. Yeah.
And one final stat for Star Wars before we sign off. I should have ended with Turgle, the 100%, but the enemies defeated. The most common one was the battle droids from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The little Roger guys.
Yeah, Roger.
Yeah. 2 billion, almost 3 billion defeated.
Wow.
Almost. Yep. Almost 3 billion. It's at 2 trillion 8. I don't know how to read numbers.
That's 2 billion, isn't it? 2,855,586,942.
So almost 3 billion.
Holy crap.
Or yeah. I said trillion. Sorry, I meant 3 billion. I don't know how to count. But that's a lot of battle droids defeated. It's a lot of battle droids defeated. And then about 9 million players got defeated by a Rancor.
That's so funny.
I'm one of those 9 million people that got defeated by the Rancor. The first time I ran into the Rancor, I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then got like
just killed you.
It was like one or two hits, pretty much. It was like swiped me and then grabbed him and just like iron. It was great.
Oh my
great animation.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was one of those because I wasn't ready. I was just like, "Oh shit!" And then I was like, "Okay, I got this." But yeah, I love Turgle. Everybody loves Turgle. Praise be to Turgle. Ell, wind us down.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Respawn Please podcast. I know this is Saturday, but usually the podcast is live streamed every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern here on the YouTube. Just look up Respawn Please podcast on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of future episodes or just anything that comes out for us. Also, tune in every Wednesday because that's when we usually do live gameplays. Same time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. The edited version of the podcast usually comes out on the YouTube at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as the audio version comes out via Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts at the same time at 9 a.m. And be sure to check out our other podcast, Review Please Anime Edition, where we review animes monthly. I know we just started June, but we have another one that we're watching to review at the end of the month.
I mean, studying sounds right too.
Very true. Very true. Yes. And then I know we still have to get Relax and Respawn because that needs to come out. I'm working on it. And that's supposed to come out earlier this week. But
did the audio version come out or?
No, still working on it because a bunch of other stuff happened.
No worries. I didn't know if the audio version had come out or not.
Oh, so, yeah.
I just saw the video one that wasn't, yeah.
And so that'll be coming out soon. And then make sure to follow us on social media for Instagram and TikTok. It's at Respawn Please Podcast. And thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful evening. Go play Diablo. Go play Street Fighter. Maybe play System Shock. I don't know. Or keep playing Zelda. I'm sure a lot of people are still playing Zelda.
Oh, yeah. So, definitely.
Anyways, see y'all
later.